Our next speaker is Eeva-Jonna Panula, also known as Eevis. I will help you with typing the Eevis to chat. Eevis is a front-end focused software developer who wants to make the web a better place for all of us. She's IAAP certified professional in web accessibility and is on a continuous journey to learn more about the accessibility. She wrote her first lines of code when she was a teenager, but the lack of role models got her away from programming. She got a degree in the Russian language, but finally got back to coding and became a software developer instead of a translator. In our luck. When she's not coding or talking about the coding, she spends her time playing Ultimate Frisbee or exploring the world with the kayak. How exciting! And today, Eevis is asking if you, as a developer, are, maybe unconsciously, developing sites for users just like yourself. It often means a sighted mouse user with good fine motor skills and who is proficient with computers, but not every user is like that. Many projects have automated accessibility checkers, and that is a good start. But however, they don't catch most of the failures on accessibility. There are some fairly simple checks to ensure a better experience for your users, and from this talk, you and I will learn how to do them, and most importantly, how they are essential to do. So, don't develop it just for yourself. A developer's checklist to accessibility. Eeva-Jonna, please welcome.
We as developers, we often tend to develop sites for users like ourselves. That often means a sighted mouse user who has a good fine motor skills and could be described as a power user. And not all users are like that. And this can create usability problems and also accessibility problems. Sometimes they are the same. But we need to do something about it. And today I am trying to provide some fairly simple checks how we can ensure as developers that our sites are at least a bit more accessible for our users. This talk has been written for, I could say, for those people who are in the beginning of their accessibility journey. You might know that, okay, accessibility is an important topic, but you maybe don't know how to start or what to do, or it all feels a bit overwhelming. Or it's possible that you don't have any idea what I'm talking about. And that's okay too, because it's good that you are here, you are listening, and I hope that you will learn something from this talk. So, my name is Eeva-Jonna Panula, or Eevis Panula, and I'm a software developer at Futures in Finland. And I'm also a certified professional in web accessibility. And when I started to learn to code, again, I could say, well, the first things I was learning were HTML, CSS, a bit of basic JavaScript. But then, like, the first actual framework I was using or learning was actually Ruby on Rails. So I have history there, even though, like, nowadays I'm mostly doing front-end focused stuff. So that means for me it's usually React and TypeScript and such things. So yeah. Today we are talking a bit about automated testing. I'm not going to go deep into that topic, but a couple of words from that. And then I will present these checks. The title of the talk, Promises. So yeah, all right. Let's start with automated accessibility testing. And maybe start with some definitions here, or what I mean when I'm talking about automated testing in accessibility. So basically, it's all those tools that take some piece of code and then go through it and programmatically check if there are some, I could say, failures or problems regarding to, well, accessibility. And good examples of these failures, for example, or problems are if you have an image tag, and then it doesn't have the alt attribute, which is an alternative text. Like you can give alternative text to that image, and if it's missing, well, those tools can actually find out that, because it's something that's programmatically well, findable, basically. Or another thing is that if your HTML document doesn't have the lang attribute in the HTML tag, these things are easy to find for like those kind of programs, but that's not like, the truth is that studies have found that well, depending on the study, these automated testing tools can find only from 15 to 40, 50, well, it really depends on the study and methodology and like, well, lots of things, but only from 15 to 40 or 50% of those failures. So there is still, like, even if the result is best, so 50%, this means that half of the problems are still nowhere to be found, but with like automated testing. So that's why we need to check manually too. And now I can move on to those checks I promised. So first thing to check is to go through your site with navigating only with a keyboard. So no mouse, not at all, and then just try to go through your site, check if you can, you know all the time where you are, you know well where the focus is, and that you can use every piece of control there is. Everything that you could use with a mouse, you can use with a keyboard too. And this is really important for those who are navigating with, for example, just a keyboard or keyboard emulating devices, or screen reader users, because they also use keyboard for navigation. I'm gonna demo here a bit about the problems you might find and maybe give some info how to maybe fix them. So yeah, all right, let's start. Okay, let's go there. So I'm navigating through this site here with a keyboard. So I'm basically tabbing through the site when I'm doing things. So I try to tell when I'm doing this tab. So all right, right now the focus is on a link that says that I am a visible link, and there is this like border around it. It's red or pink depending on the screen, basically. And now I'm on a checkbox, but like now that I start navigating from here, you'd maybe think that the next place where the focus would go is that button which says I am also visible. So let's test. I'm gonna tab. Okay, no, we are nowhere to be found. Let's try again. Nope. And then nope. And final try. Okay, yeah, here we are. So we got lost for a second. And the reason actually for this is, let me go back. I'm gonna toggle the checkbox there. The reason is that I had a list of links which was hidden, and the way it was hidden was with CSS or yeah, I could say the way it was hidden wasn't the CSS display none, but I just had moved the list out from the view. So basically positioning it outside from the view. And that's fairly common pattern when doing something like navigation menus. And if you just like move the content out of the view, it means that it doesn't get removed from the DOM. It doesn't get removed from focus order. So that's why the focus still goes there, goes to those links. And you know, for those who are using only a keyboard, that can be really confusing because for a long time they might not know where they are, because like I had here only 3 links, but I've seen sites with navigation, like items in navigation menu, like, I don't know, maybe 20 of them. So that would be a really long time to find your way out from there. So yeah, that's first thing about, well, disappearing focus is the theme in the first 2 things I'm gonna show here. And then another thing, now that I'm in the button that says I am also visible, next place you would imagine I would go is the I have no focus indicator link, and then to this but I have link. Let's see. Okay, focus is lost again. And now we're back. And as you might guess, the I have no focus indicator link didn't have any focus indicator, so that like around or those borders around the link. And I had removed it with a outline none CSS code, I could say. And where I like, it's important to not to remove that focus indicator. I've been in a situation where a designer told me that, no, we're not going to have that because it's ugly. I should have said that, yeah, well, it's your job to make it beautiful. But at that point, I wasn't brave enough and kind of sad about it. But yeah, so let's not remove that outline. Only if we are adding something even more visible, then we can remove the outline. But let's remember to have those like visible focus indicators. All right. There's still like for keyboard navigation, there's another thing I wanted to talk about, and that's unusable controls. And you might think that this button or so-called button here, which says click me, would be working as expected, but let's check. All right, I'm gonna click it with a mouse, and I got a alert saying click happened. All right, so yep. Now I'm okay. I need to. Yeah. All right, we are back in the place I wanted us to be with the focus. So next, I will try to tap to that button, and then maybe try to interact with it and everything. So let's see what happens. All right. Yeah, it just like the focus just went past the button. So yeah, from my like what I've been saying here about so-called button and button and everything, you might guess that it's not actually a button. It's a div which has a on-click handler there, which, well, triggers that alert. So for like a mouse user, this would be fine. A div styled as a button, yeah, it would work. But for a keyboard user or screen reader user, those who navigate only using their voice, so voice command user, it's not working. Like, it's not usable. It doesn't have the, like, you can't tap to it, you can focus to it, you can't interact with it with a keyboard. And then, like, for screen reader users, they don't even know that there is such thing because there is no role of button. So that's yeah, that's a problem. So even if you don't remember anything else from this talk, I hope that you remember that whenever you need to create a button or some other control that already has a native HTML element, you would use that element, that semantic HTML element. So, for example, a button there. And please don't do it with divs, because it's just like you could do it in a way that it's usable by all, but it really requires work and it's harder to maintain. So yeah, I hope that you remember that. Use native semantics instead of divs, for example, for buttons. So yeah, all right. The next thing to check is to check if color alone is used. If we were using color alone to communicate some information, that would mean that the information would get lost for actually pretty many users. So, for example, those who have some sort of color blindness, it's possible that they don't really get the idea if the color combination is problematic for their type of color blindness. Or screen reader users, well, if the color is only made with, for example, CSS, they don't ever get it, because screen readers don't really communicate the styles of the page, meaning CSS. And then color is actually a cultural thing. So for me, I would see red as maybe a warning sign or maybe a bad thing, or I would see it as a negative thing, maybe. And then green would be a positive thing. But that's not in every culture. It's not like that. So that's why also using color alone can be really problematic. And I want to introduce one way we could use to check if color alone is used on our sites. For example, I made an example here with a table which has collection of courses from my first degree. So it was Russian language and culture, as Milja mentioned in my introduction. And I've added colors to tell how I felt about the course. These courses were in the first year I was studying. And if you can see colors and differentiate them from here, and also if they translate to you the same way as for me, then you would think that okay. So Russian history and culture and theory of phonetics were something that I wasn't really happy about, or there were some problems. Yeah, if you're interested, I can in some later time tell the problems I had there, but yeah. And then that translations from Russian to Finnish, they were okay, but I maybe didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. Or there was some difficulties or something. And then Russian grammar and Russian literature were something that I liked. But if we open our dev tools, and from dev tools, I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. From customize and control dev tools. By the way, I'm using Chrome here, so this should work in all Chromium-based newer browsers, you'd say. So customize and control dev tools, and then there is this more tools, and in more tools there is rendering. Rendering is a place where you can do lots of stuff, but for example, emulate different things. And what we are doing here, we're gonna scroll down, and there is this emulate vision deficiencies emulation thing, and I'm gonna emulate here achromatopsia, which is a type of color blindness where a person can't really see colors. So now that we look the page, which is in grayscale, the meaning of the colors changes a bit. So it seems that maybe the translations from Russian to Finnish is on the one side of the scale, and then Russian history and culture and theory of phonetics are on the other end of the scale, and then Russian grammar and Russian literature, they are somewhere there in the middle. So that already changes the how we understand the information in the table. So yeah, that's what I wanted to show from here. So let's not use color alone for information. And then a couple of words about ability to zoom on mobile. There was this time when responsive design was understood in a way that when you are creating something on mobile, that mobile design should be unscalable or unzoomable, basically. So there was this habit of adding this user scalable no to meta tags of the website, and that can be really problematic for some. There are people who rely on zooming on websites because their vision is not good enough to see it without zooming. But then, if I think myself, I like to usually, if I see a group photo where I'm part of the photo, I usually want to kind of zoom in and check how do I look like there. But there might be other reasons for everyone to zoom on a website, and sometimes pages don't actually work without zooming. But that's really a problem that developers should fix for that site. But because things don't happen too quickly, then zooming can help to work around with those issues for a while before the developers can fix those issues. So I could say let's not disable zooming on mobile or basically anywhere, because people rely on that. And how you can check this is that you can take a actual mobile device and then go on your site or app and try zooming with if you can use your fingers, it's usually with two fingers, pinching or yeah. So yes, that was another one. And then captions and transcripts. If you can, if you have a video you're watching, but you can't, for some reason, you can't have the sound on, then having captions there is really good thing for you to understand what's going on in the video. And for example, I don't like watching videos or, for example, in Instagram stories with sound on, about ever, but especially when I'm in a crowded place, though that hasn't really happened lately, but maybe at one point again. But I'm really grateful for captions because I can watch the content without having the sound on and listening. But also okay, I could have the sound on, but then there are people who are deaf or hard of hearing, for example, who really don't have that choice. So they really rely on having the captions, and that's why I'm actually really happy that here in Euruko we have these live captions as well. So that's really good thing, and that should be the norm actually. So yeah. And then about transcripts. Well, if you have a podcast or something that's audio only, there should be also transcript, which is basically written version of everything that's said or like every important sound also on the, for example, on that podcast. Because again, like those who can't hear can't really, well, listen to that audio only content. So that's why transcripts are essential. So the check I would suggest here is to go, if you have any like multimedia, then go through that and check if there are captions available, if it's like video content, and if it's audio only content, check for transcripts. And I could also mention audio description here. That's, well, the name is pretty descriptive, but like, for example, videos, because if you can't really see the video, so if you are, for example, blind, having all these visual details described as well, like important visual details described as well, that really helps to understand the content of the video, for example. So that's also a good thing to check if possible. So yeah, all right. That was all I wanted to say. So basically what I was talking about was to test your site with a keyboard and try to interact with basically everything on your site. Then check if color alone is used. Then check for mobile zooming, that it's possible. And then also check for captions, transcripts, and also audio descriptions if possible. I think I remembered all. And I'm in Twitter. My handle is, well, this @ EEVISPANULA. I hope that I'm spelling correctly. English spelling is not my strongest suit, I could say. And also my website is in Eevis codes, so eevis.codas, and then like /blog, so /blog. Then there is also my blog, and I actually published today a blog post with these checks and a couple of, I could say, extra checks. So that's there as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Eevis. Yes, please sit with me. Let's give you a short moment to breathe when I talk with the audience about little reminders. Some people came a little bit late today, so you can find the stream chat on the left side panel navigation. There's a stream word, and click that. The stream window opens again, and then you find the chat where actually we are having a lot of discussions today. And thank you for supporting our speakers with the emojis and sending love and sending all these questions. First of all these tech problems, we all have them. We have all been there. So this is the life we are living now. And even though if we would be in live events, something always happens. So we don't care about that much. But it's always a little bit exciting to be a speaker when everything fails around you and your heart starts to pound, but we are okay. There's a lots of chat comments, and let's start to go through that. But let me tell you, we will add all the links Eevis gave to chat. I already put your Twitter account there, but we can also give other links, and from other speakers also the links there. So let's start with the thanks. I love talks on A11i. It boosts your way of thinking so much and adds any new Sorry, I'm malfunctioning at the right at the moment. Let's try again. I love talks on A11i. It boosts your way of thinking so much, and any new point of view improves your daily developer's work. So thanks. Great demo with the Grayscale variant. So let's go to the questions. Are there guidelines on how to best style focus indicators? How prominent do they need to be? What's too subtle? Always struggle with the make them work and fit in the other layout well because they are supposed to stick out.
Yeah, there are actually guidelines. So if we think about the WCAG, so web content, web accessibility content guidelines, these abbreviations are so hard. So there is this set of rules how to make what's the kind of the minimum level of accessibility for sites. So web accessibility content guidelines or okay, yeah.
Do we struggle here today?
Yes, we do.
Together.
Yes. But yeah, WCAG, I could say like this like short thing, but it has actually guidelines on the like minimum level of contrast on focus indicators too. I have to say that I don't right now remember, was it like the contrast ratio, was it 1:3 or 1:4.5? I guess it was one of those. But yeah, that's like the minimum requirement, with an exception of that those browser, like if you don't touch the focus styling at all, then by these guidelines and success criteria it has, the browser's default styling would be enough. But I would say still that it's better to make them really like, well, more visible, because the default styling, it's not really visible. So yeah.
Yeah, we need to sometimes on the cost of the site's layout, we need to do some stuff.
Yeah, and I would say that it doesn't need to be on the cost of, because like, well, especially if we are working with designers, for example, or like when we are designing the pages, we have like lots of possibilities to make them beautiful.
Yeah.
So yeah,
we just need to look at the visualization and the style, like with the new eyes.
Yeah.
Yes.
True.
It's not that hard.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not that hard. So there's a lots of questions about this topic, and there's also lots of discussion and links, useful links and resources also. Matthias and Simo, this is for you. Let's pick up the links and the resources from the chat, because chat is not going to be alive after the event. So let's pick up those and send them with the newsletter, or in other way, maybe Facebook post or Discord. Let's send the resources and links via Discord to all our audience. You can find them there later, and we can add your links there too. So don't worry, you can find the Eevis later too. So, and here are actually really good comments. Like, it benefits everyone, but mostly people using screen readers, and they are here that there are a lot of tips, but the question, there's been much more awareness raised on things like security and privacy, but accessibility is still often neglected. What do you think needs to happen that this imbalance would be fixed, and is it happening already? In Finland, we have a quite good situation since we have a law.
Yeah, that's true. The law, basically, coming from the EU side, can't remember the exact names of the laws are really hard. But yeah, we have right now effective this law where all public sector sites or the sites or the sites of the services or like, well, basically every site that gets funding from public sector, at least I think the limit was like 50% or something, they need to be accessible by law. So this means that they need to comply with this VGAC I was mentioning about. So I think that's a good thing there. And then, if I've understood correctly, there is also a law coming up about all the like web stores to be accessible too.
Yeah.
And I think it was the year where it should be in effect the latest, or I think it should come out maybe next year. I'm like, don't trust me on like the exact years, but like within a couple of years, and then like there will be this period where companies can make them accessible, so it's like you don't get fined straight away after this. So that's the situation in Finland currently. And I think like raising up the topics on accessibility and speaking about different sides and different benefits, that's like one thing to raise awareness on this topic. And also like when having, for example, code reviews, paying attention on things like accessibility, it can help to create awareness, basically, because if there is one developer on a team who really pays attention on this, then the others will learn too if they don't know already. So we
need the ambassadors of the accessibility like you and the question makers, because if you understand the situation and importance of this, you can be the ambassador on your team.
Yes, that's true.
Because there's a lot of concern on the chat about this situation. Please tell me through the chat, what is the situation in your country? I think in most of us in EU have the same regulation, but how about the other people? I know there's a lot of people, example for America, United States, 10-hour time zone difference. So thank you for being here. What's the situation on there? Because people are asking, like, now I lost the question about the, we did go through that. And let me check. What do you use to automate accessibility testing?
Yeah, that's a good question. First of all, I have to say that I work in the React realm, basically. So, like, unfortunately, I don't have any tips on like, outside that world, or much. Some of the tools I'm going to mention next are usable in like, everywhere. But in that world, I use like linters. So there is like, I use VS Code. There are good linters for that, and especially like, I think it's SLint, React, JSX accessibility, so A11i. So like linters are good. Then there are test integrations for example, Jest or Cypress, which are the like ones I've been using lately. So, but I guess that there is for other frameworks as well. And then things that every one of us can use on browsers. So there are browser extensions. I'm using Axe from DQ, so AXE. So that's a good one for checking your site on like browser, and then also Wave from WebAIM. So these are a bit different tools, but they are both browser extensions, and I think like they are both available for at least Chrome, Firefox, and well, Edge, because it's like especially the newer ones which are Chromium based. So yeah.
Yeah.
So
and we have a comment in the chat that from Christoph, automated testing is fine to receive heads up for things like missing alternative text or bad color choices in terms of contrast, but unfortunately that doesn't ensure your application is truly inclusive, so we need to focus more than just automating the check. There's a lot of uploading emojis. It's really hard to find the questions here, but this is amazing. Keep going on with the chat talk. Here's Joel giving a link to Builder Inspiration and Ideas. There's a talk about the UK government audit of bunch of automated tools. Check out these resources, and we check out those two to you in Discord. Well, this was a struggle for me and a little bit for you, but we've been through a lot with you lately in this year and this last year, and I think we are ready to move on, but please be ambassadors of the accessibility, and when you are giving a speech on any topic on events like this, please raise awareness of accessibility, because diversity and inclusive is really important to world. As Mats hoped we to create the better world, and this is a really good way to create the better world.